Hi guys, welcome to Origin and a special hi to VenomFangX. Sean, I saw your last video, 5 answers for an atheist, and I think you have a fundamental misunderstanding of a few concepts, so let me clarify a few things for you, yeah? Cool, let's start. Okay, right at the beginning of the video it says, please vote to counter atheist vote bots. Now, if atheists are using vote bots, then I very much disapprove of that, even if it is VenomFangX. You know, I understand people's hatred for him, but enough, come on. But, I would contest that. I would say that, you know, Venom, your videos get pretty low ratings by us anyway. You know, pretty much everyone rates a video 1 star, so I seriously doubt there's any vote bots involved. I'm sorry, but that seems to be the way it is.
Design entails designer, in every case that we know about.
Ah yes, design. That old argument. Let me show you a few things. Now, if you're squeamish, I want you to run screaming from the room right now because that's what you're probably going to do in front of your computer screen anyway. That said, you know, I don't mean to shock anyone. Please let me keep this video because this isn't a shock site, I understand that, community guidelines and all that. It's fine. It's not really that bad, but you probably will run screaming from the room if you're really that squeamish. So, yeah, here we go. See? I told you it wasn't so bad. Human beings going about their daily routine, you know, all of that stuff. Oh dear. Now that's a very interesting form of design.
There couldn't be an infinite past because you cannot have an infinite amount of finite things. Because an infinite cannot be a number. You can't have an infinite amount of finite things. And I argued that by sequential addition, you can't have an infinite regression. That is to say, since every moment in time is one event after another, you could never add events such that you would reach an infinite amount of events. And if you want proof, start with the number 1, then add another 1, so you have 2, then another one 3, and keep counting until you reach infinity, and message me when you're done. You'll never reach infinity. That proves that time is not infinite, which also proves that time had a beginning.
Now, I study maths at uni. Does that make me qualified to talk about infinity? Of course not. But I can say this. The problem with your infinite regression statement is that time doesn't start from some, 1, and then adding 1s on and so on. You know, it never started. That's the point. So, you're taking an example in which infinity does start, and you say that it can't ever reach infinity. Well, you're right, but it's not trying to. It's just going on and on and on. It doesn't reach any infinite number in the future because you're now treating infinity like a finite number. It can't ever reach infinity. It just keeps going on. That's what infinity means. It doesn't stop at some value called infinity. It keeps going. And it all unravels from there. Now, here's one thing I want to say about infinity. Infinity can start and never finish, or not start and finish, or not start and not finish. That's how it works, you know. If we were to say, well, how much time has passed ever, we could say infinity. But, we add on any amount of finite number, 1 year later we still say an infinite amount of time has passed because that's how infinity works. It's very complicated, and to try and use it this way vastly declines the quality of your argument.
Infinity, which is an infinite amount of finite things.
An infinite amount of finite things. That's only one part of it, Sean. There's so much more to infinity than that. Look it up.
God exists without time.
Okay, now this is getting quite ridiculous. God exists without time. Tell me, Sean, how could he possibly influence anything in this universe if he's not subject to time? That would make him a statue, basically. It's not even that. It doesn't make logical sense for him to not be subject to time.
And it's the same with his power. God's power is not 1 + 1 + 1 power. Instead, his power is simply unlimited control over reality. But that is not an actual infinite in terms of an infinite amount of finite things.
Unlimited power amounts to an infinite amount of power. If you could value it. I don't know, but unlimited power is basically using infinity here.
Isn't heaven and hell an infinite? The answer is no, because we exist in time, and time had a beginning. So here we are living for 100 years, oh, and we die. Then we go to heaven and hell, and we're there, but we can stop at any point and say, okay, how much time have we been here? And it's still a finite amount of time. And it can keep on going indefinitely, but at any point you can still stop and say how much time, and it's still a finite amount. This can keep going, literally, without ceasing, forever, but you'll always be able to say it's been a finite amount of time since the beginning, because again, you can never reach an infinity by adding sequential addition.
Actually, Sean, you will be there for an unlimited amount of time, because it starts. You go there and you stay there forever. So, of course, you could never say that it has been an infinite amount of time since I came here. But you will be there forever. Do you understand? Because this is where infinity gets complicated. Like you said, it's not a number, it's a concept.
Infinite punishment simply means never-ending punishment, which makes sense and is still finite.
Is there any break in the punishment in hell or the pleasure in heaven? No, never. So it is infinite.
But God cannot be applied to that sequential addition or subtraction, so he doesn't fit with my definition that I gave you, that you can't have an infinite amount of finite things, because there's nothing finite about God in a way that you could sequentially subtract or add to him.
Like I said, there's much more to it than an infinite amount of finite things. Infinite doesn't need to be about a number of finite things. If it's God, then it can be infinite. So infinity here can be applied.
So this is why atheism is so dangerous, is because it's removed your moral compass.
With atheism, morals do still exist, Sean. They're simply relative to our environment. They can change depending on how our environment changes, how we change, how our upbringing changes. There's so many factors that come into play in this. It's so much more complicated than simply saying there isn't a moral compass. We don't have a morality that is basically unchanging, but that's good. Because if we had one that never changed, then we could reach some scenario in the future that gets very complicated and means that we would have to disobey these morals and we'd have to change them.
I'm just trying to help you.
That's very noble, Sean, but I don't think a creationist worldview is actually helpful in today's society. We kind of need to be up to the minute with every scientific going on, and creationism just doesn't make any sense in this regard. If anything, we're trying to help you. We're trying to make you see logic.
Since you have a naturalistic understanding of consciousness in the brain, you believe our choices are totally environmental and nature and nurture. You believe that it's just because our brain is chemical reactions, so you think.
Sean, are you trying to suggest that something we know for a fact is true isn't?
You think you've removed yourself from responsibility for your actions.
No.
We can come before God recognizing evil because of the conscience that he gave us, that awareness of good and evil. We know right from wrong.
Well, we don't know it's wrong. Some of us think it's wrong, some of us don't. And we're both right, because morality is all down to opinion.
Bible, how accurate it is and why we can trust it.
There's nothing historically accurate about it. Can Jesus' existence be proven? Can the flood be proven? Can any of it actually be proven? I guess we'll just have to watch your video and find out.
Have you ever seen Julius Caesar or Alexander the Great? No, but you believe they existed because of reliable historical documentation.
In the case of Caesar and Alexander the Great, we actually have evidence for their existence. This video is meant to help you, Sean, so please don't be offended at anything I've said. I just want to try and help you understand some basic concepts which you claim we don't understand. Bye.